Wildcat's Revenge is the new for 2023 hybrid coaster at Hersheypark. RMC took the former Wildcat wooden roller coaster and transformed it into a far taller, faster, wilder, and smoother steel coaster. There has been a lot of hype around this ride, and for good reason. It is now the best RMC in the Northeast, and I'll explain why in this review. Wildcat was the name of not one, but two defunct coasters at Hersheypark. The first was a PTC wood coaster that ran from 1923 to 1945. The second was the original Great Coasters International, or GCI coaster. This ride opened in 1996 as the anchor attraction to the new Midway America section of the park. Wildcat had a good layout. It was a massive track with some nice airtime pops, particularly in its early years with the PTC trains. But the ride fell out of favor over the following decade. This was for two reasons. First, the coaster became rough. PTC trains were not the most adept at navigating a twisty layout like that of Wildcat. That's why the later GCIs run Millennium Flyer trains. Wildcat actually got these trains in 2007, but the track had already been beat up. Second, Hersheypark opened Lightning Racer in 2000, also from GCI, and it was placed in the Midway America section as well. The ride also had a twister layout like Wildcat. While the airtime was not quite as strong, it was far more popular with parkgoers for its smoother ride and racing element. This made Wildcat somewhat redundant. Coaster enthusiasts had been clamoring for Wildcat to be converted into a hybrid coaster by Rocky Mountain Construction. RMC had done similar conversions to 13 other coasters across the globe. They were experts in taking old wooden coasters and transforming them into world-class thrill rides jam-packed with airtime. In July 2022, Hersheypark announced that Wildcat would close over a social media post, and they asked fans what should be done with the track. Some wanted to see GCI give the coaster a Titan track makeover, especially because it was that company's first coaster. But most enthusiasts wanted an RMC, and this was confirmed to be the case in November 2022, and it will be Wildcat's Revenge. I wasn't sure how I felt about the name at first. It would be the third coaster in Pennsylvania to have Revenge in the name, along with Kennywood's Phantom's Revenge and Dorney Park's Hydra the Revenge, but the name has grown on me. Wildcat's Revenge opened in May of 2023, and it looks fantastic in Hersheypark's skyline. Midway America runs right up against Hersheypark Drive, so you get some great views of the coaster approaching the park. You also get some stunning views looking down the hill from Hershey Gardens. The coaster's 14-story height is respectable anyway, but the truss structure makes it look taller than it really is. Then the coaster's red track that pops against the brown supports. I also love the train design. The lead cars have a large Wildcat extending forwards. I'm personally not a big fan of the station building though. The station was intended to look like that of the original Wildcat, especially with the gable roof. But I find the tall shed to look awkward and ugly. The interior looks better though. You have some images on the wall, and you have a high-octane soundtrack getting you pumped up for your ride, and you'll hear a cat roar anytime a train is dispatched. It may just take a little bit to get to this point in the line. Anytime a park opens a new coaster, especially one as well received at a park this large as Hersheypark, you can expect it to garner long waits. This coaster has frequently had a 45 to 60 minute wait midday this summer, but there are a few ways to beat the crowds. First, head here early. While several people run the Wildcat at rope drop, it is in the very back of the park, so you can usually get on fairly quickly if you head there first. Second, ride this coaster at the end of the day. We did this on a Saturday when the park was packed and it was a walk-on at close, and this coaster gives great night rides as well. Third, get a fast track. This is a paid skip-the-line system that'll get you on Wildcat in 10 minutes max, because the merge point is so close to the station. This is the best way to marathon this coaster on a busy day. Fourth, visit on a day with inclement weather. While this park does close some coasters in any rain like Skyrush and Candemonium, Wildcat's Revenge will stay open per the park's website unless it's a heavy downpour. It is also worth noting this coaster will be available for the park's Christmas Candy Lane event in winter. Per the website, Wildcat's Revenge can open as long as the temperature is 34 degrees and rising. I've had good luck marathoning coasters in the past at Candy Lane on weekdays. While this coaster has garnered high crowds, this is probably the most efficient ride at Hersheypark at this time. RMCs are notoriously slow loaders, so it feels a bit weird to say, but Hersheypark has done 4 things to expedite dispatches. First, this coaster runs 3 trains at once. The trains are the usual 6 cars, and each car has 2 rows of 2, so they hold 24 riders like most of RMC's coasters. Second, the crew working Wildcat is fantastic. They were busting their tail to quickly check restraints. I hope crews in future years are similarly as fast, even as the ride begins to age. Third, this is the first RMC to feature separate load and unload platforms. This setup allows guests to board faster because you don't have to wait for the prior guests to exit the train, and it enables 3 trains on the track at once. Fourth, this coaster does not allow anything to be stored on the station platform. This means guests go straight to their seat, so employees can immediately begin checking restraints. Right before you reach the station, there are a series of free double-sided lockers. These are much larger than the lockers found in something like Velocicoaster or Steel Vengeance. These can comfortably fit a bag. You will need to put most of your belongings in there. This includes glasses, unless you have a strap, plus your phone, wallet, and keys. There's no metal detector, but if the operators catch you with anything on the load platform, they will send you right back down to the lockers. And the operator control panel was watching the station like a hawk to catch guests, regularly calling them out. At one point, there was a guy who had his phone in the station. The operator caught him and sent him back to the lockers. When he returned to the station, he had sunglasses without a strap. The operator again told him he could not ride. He then took them off and put them in a button pocket, but he was told he had to go back to the lockers. He was so infuriated that he threw his sunglasses over the side of the station. So in short, just put everything in a locker. I have heard some reports that you can keep things in a zippered pocket, but I just threw everything in a locker to be safe. The double-sided nature of the lockers prevents major log jams getting on and off. But there is one con with these lockers. You need to remember your exact locker number when you retrieve your items. I saw this causing some headaches for those with bad memories. At least when I rode Wildcat, I was free to choose any row I wanted when I reached the station. I had heard this coaster had assigned seating shortly after it opened, but there was no grouper for me. This coaster gives a great ride in any row, but I like the back car a bit better. You get the full effect of the drop, and I find a few other moments later in the ride to be punchier as well. Wildcat uses RMC swing axle trains. These feature a familiar U-shaped lap bar with shin guards. As I've said before, I have no issue with these restraints, but I know taller guests can find the shin guards uncomfortable, and from what I saw, the operators were not stapling guests either like some RMCs. The restraints also have some grab bars for a change. You have handles on the side like lightning rod, plus this flimsy grab bar in the center of the restraint. This is a first for an RMC. Once dispatched, you have a cool pre-lift section. It's one of the best of an RMC. There's a trick track triple down. If you ride in the back car, the latter 2 humps give okay pops of airtime. This is followed by a quick turn, and then you hit the ride's 140 foot or 43 meter tall lift hill. If the crew is moving fast, you may see a train overhead passing through the final 0G roll as you engage the lift hill. Initially, the train will crawl up the lift. This is because it's waiting for the train ahead of you to enter the unload platform. Once that happens, the lift will speed up, and like most of the new RMCs, the anti-rollbacks are deafeningly loud. Once at the top, you are thrown over the first drop. This is a nearly vertical 82-degree plunge. I think we take RMC first drops for granted nowadays, but it's great as always. The back rows get good sustained ejector airtime. Then even those up front will get some fine floater airtime on the way down too. This leads into the highly marketed world's largest step-up underflip. It starts off like a 0G roll, followed by a swooping drop back down to ground level. The front rows get good laterals into the twist and a pinch of hang time. Meanwhile, those in back get better hang time, and you get some wonderful near misses with a sea of supports. Then everyone is pulled back down to the ground after the flip, and that pullout has some solid positive Gs, the best on the ride. Then comes a large camelback. It is probably the best pure airtime hill on the ride. It offers sustained ejector airtime. It is very strong in all rows, but it's especially powerful up front. And you also have a terrifying head chopper with a support beam for the stall above your head. Wildcat then hops upwards, ejecting everyone from their seat, but it has more oomph in the front rows. Next comes a wave turn high above the ground, again offering negative Gs. You get a decent pop of airtime up front, but it is stronger in the back. And the resultant drop takes you back down to ground level through some supports for another sweet near miss. Then the train soars through a long 0G stall. Everyone gets good sustained hang time, but that's not all. The snappy entry and exit provide some decent laterals too, and there are an abundance of near misses again with some supports. The train then zips through a low and fast wave turn. It delivers a great pop of sideways ejector airtime for all. I preferred this wave turn to the first one, even though that first one was far larger because it had increased power. Next comes this bizarre double down. This was the element that most intrigued me with Wildcat. You jump upwards. This gives everyone solid ejector airtime. That is followed by a small dip and a larger drop. What's weird about the descent is that it turns left with zero banking, and you are hauling at this point. So you get an abrupt lateral jolt while levitating over the apex. Then you stay pinned to the side of the train for the remainder of the double down. It is strange and cool at the same time getting laterals like this on RMC, and the second drop on the double down delivers a good ejector pop for all, releasing you from the side of the train. Next is the first of two 0G rolls. This one is faster, offering great laterals with a smidge of float, and as you'd expect with an RMC inversion, you have lots of near misses with supports. You then charge around a quick overbank. This is the one element that didn't do much for me, but it's over in a flash, so it doesn't disrupt the pacing. Immediately after, you have the second 0G roll beneath the first. This one is much floatier, but it does still offer some laterals as well. You then have this weird hump that turns you right directly out of the inversion. It delivers a good pop of airtime for all, but the sudden transition into it also will ragdoll your body if you're in the back car. It really caught me off guard in my first ride. Then you zip over a little bunny hill delivering a wild ejector pop. Now comes the quirky entry into the brake run. You twist upwards to the right. Once you level off, you abruptly shift left with minimal banking, so your body is thrown about uncontrollably. You get an ejector pop over the top. Then your body is sharply slammed sideways with the directional change. It's especially intense because you cannot see the track and supports hiding the sudden turn. You then slam to a smooth stop on the brakes and return to the station, ending the 3,510 foot or 1,070 meter long coaster. This layout is 10% longer than Wildcat, and it places it towards the middle of the pack for an RMC hybrid coaster in terms of length. If you weren't able to tell by my element-by-element breakdown, this ride's pacing is phenomenal. You cruise from one element to the next, and the sense of speed is enhanced by all those near misses. In terms of smoothness, Wildcat tracks flawlessly. That being said, I could see some finding a few of the transitions, particularly during the finale, a bit too aggressive. For example, my wife found Wildcat a bit too violent towards the end for her tastes. So what would I rate Wildcat's Revenge? I would give this coaster a 9.5 out of 10. RMC hit another home run with this one. They maximized Wildcat's layout to deliver a very well balanced coaster. It has several strong airtime moments as you'd expect, including a few while you're on your side, but also throws in 4 great inversions and some surprising laterals for variety. I expected this coaster to be great, but it was a bit better than expected because there were some unexpected forces on the directional changes. This is the best RMC in the Northeast, and it's probably in the upper half of their hybrid coasters, and I think it's my second favorite coaster at the park. Now, I still prefer Skyrush because of that coaster's unhinged and unique ride experience, but Wildcat's Revenge may be the best number 2 coaster at any park in the world. And I would not be the least bit surprised if this was the best ride at Hersheypark for many. That's how good this coaster is. Hershey already had a stacked coaster lineup, and the rich only got richer. So those are my thoughts on Wildcat's Revenge at Hersheypark. What are your thoughts on this new for 2023 hybrid coaster? Is it your favorite ride at Hersheypark? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.